Welcome to this tutorial, and in this segment we are going to discuss on how you can create the admin login panel for this project that we started in my previous tutorial. So remember, in my previous tutorial we talked about how you can go to create the tables in the database. So if you missed that video, it is not possible for you to continue with this video. Kindly go to the description section and watch that video and create the tables that you are going to require for this particular project. But if you have done that, you can just proceed to the next part. Now in this case we are going to use our VS Code. So VS Code is our editor that we are going to use for this project. So we need to set up the environment of where we are going to write our PHP and HTML and CSS codes and JavaScript. So this is the editor that we are going to use. Now what you need to do in this case, we need to create a folder inside the root directory in the web server. Okay, so we need just to create a folder in there, but maybe you can just go through the file. You just go to file and then you click on new. Now inside a file and then new, we are going to type the name of this file is what we call admin underscore login.php. so that is the name of the file. Then you click on create down here. So it will prompt to ask you where exactly you want to save it. So we'll go to this PC and then you go to local disk C where the root directory is. So you double click on it and then you go to where it's written WAMP64. So that is where you are going to double click and you enter in there. Then you are going to go to www. So you double click also there, and then we want to create a folder. We want to create a folder called survey. Okay, survey already exists. So what I need to do, maybe I can use a different name. I can just say that maybe you can just say, okay, we can just use the name maybe questionnaire. Okay, you can just use the name questionnaire. That is too long. You can just say questions. You can just say that at the top that folder is called questions. And then inside this folder now we just double click to open, and then you create file in there. So remember, the file is called admin login.php. Now the first thing we need to do, we'll start with the syntax for HTML, because we are going to embed some CSS as we go further. That is why we are going to ensure that we are going to start with that we're going to start with CSS, HTML syntax or structure, so that you can be able to capture the syntax or the CSS part of it. So here we are going just to say title. Okay, inside here we're going to say title, and then inside the title part we are going just to say my survey. So that is the name that will be displayed at the top there. And then we just go to our body. Going to our body. Okay, we are supposed to have HTML here. We're just supposed to make sure we have the HTML code there, and then that HTML code should also be down here. We can close back the body, and then we can also have our HTML closed down here. So inside the body tags we are going to say PHP. We're going to create our first PHP code. We're going to say PHP. Okay, and you can just close it first, and then we can now enter in that area so that we can go to write the first statement. You can just say session start. So this is where the session is supposed to begin from. We don't accept any parameters at the moment. We are going to leave it blank, and then you just say $con. So this is a variable that is storing the connection parameters. So we are going to say con MySQL. Now inside this case we are going now to write whatever we want that program to check before it can execute. First of all, it's supposed to be localhost, and then you are supposed to make sure that you have the root as your username. We don't have the password, so we are just putting that one to be blank like that, and then the database name, and the database name is Gumzo. So that is the database name, so you just write there Gumzo like that. So if these parameters are going to be correct, then you can proceed to the next part, and then you just say if $_server. Okay, so we have that statement here, server request. So you need to have the square bracket, and inside the square bracket you put the single quotes, and then you say request. You can see where it is, request method. So you just click on it, something that is already used here. Request method should be post, is identical to post. Request method is identical to post. So what is that statement trying to mean is that the request method should be post, of post type. So we have got two types of request method. We have get and we have post. So if the request mode is post, then this should be executed. Now what it should be executed in this case is $username. Username should be equal to the post value that has just been entered in that place. So you just say $post, and then you put the square bracket, and then you just say inside the square bracket single quotes, and then you write their username. Okay, so that is how you can be able to check that, and then you just copy this. Since it's almost the same thing, you can just copy this statement here, copy it, and then you just paste it in down here. Okay, sorry for that. I think yeah, you can just paste it here. So here we are going just to change here the password. Going to say password. So the name here is password, and then inside here we're going to say also password. Good. Then after that we just move to the next part. So remember, we're still within the if statement. We are still within the if statement, and then we just go to the next part and then say $query. Query is equal to con is equal to con. Then you just put the hyphen, and then that greater than sign. So we say prepare. So what are you going to prepare in this case? Select. So what you're going to do here, you're going to say select, then hysteric from what? Admins. Remember, admins is the table that we just created in my previous tutorial. Then the username. So the username should be, then you put that question mark. So why do we put the question mark? We are prompting the user to give us the input. So whatever the user is going to give us as the input, that is what we are going to work with. Then we say query, $query. Then you can say that query, you put that hyphen again, and then the greater than sign, and then you just say bind parameters. Bind parameter. So we just say bind param. So this is what is going to be written there, and it's a function. So inside there you just have the first S. So, and then after that you just say $username. Yeah. So we are taking these two parameters, the username and the first letter. Okay. So after that we just move to the next one. We just say query. Query. What do you do with the query? You do what? You execute it. So we want to execute this query, and then you just close you finish with the semicolon, and then you just say $result is equal to the $sign query, $query, and then you just put an hyphen and then the greater than sign, and then inside just say get result. So you can see get result is a function here, and then you just leave it blank without any parameter entered into it. Now we are done with that. We move to the next if statement, and in this if we're going to check the number of rows. So it's just say that if the $sign result, if the $sign result is hyphen and then greater than sign, the number of rows, num rows, and then you just equate that if the number of rows is equivalent to 1. So what are you supposed to do in this case? If the number of rows is equivalent to 1, so what you are going to do, you just say admin is equal to number, the result is equal to the result. Then what are you going to fetch? You will fetch the association. So you just say that fetch association, like that. So you just press you just put the semicolon at the end, and then you move to the next part. You just say if password verify, if password verify is here, if password verify, you open the bracket. Inside there you are going to say $sign password, $password, and then you put a comma. So what you are going to do, you are going to verify the password that have been entered by the user. So we are going to say that $sign admin, and then you just put the square bracket. Inside the square bracket you put in the variable, and in this case we are going to target the password. Okay, so we have been able to open it and close it there, and then you have the opening curly bracket. You press enter, and then inside there we are going to say $sign session, $sign session, it is here, $sign session is there, and then you just open the square bracket and you write there admin, the admin ID. So that is what you're going to fetch in this case. Okay, so equal sign, and then you just say $sign admin. So fetch for us the admin, and then give us in this case ID for that. Yeah, so in this session, that is basically what we're going to check. We are going to check if the session ID, admin ID in the session is similar to that ID in the admin table. So if that is correct, we just move to the next part, and then we just say that the header location, opening quotes, and then you just write the location, and then you just say dashboard.php. So we're going to create this. So this basically means that there is some dashboard that there is a PHP that contains the dash. So basically the header is located in this dashboard.php. So we are going to fetch it as we go further. Now in this case you are going just to say you close the semicolon there, and then you move to the next part. And now in this case we are going to end that statement there. That is if the number of rows is equivalent to 1. But else, what are you supposed to do in case it's not equivalent to 1? You just say echo that credentials, echo that invalid credentials. So that one has already been verified that the credentials that you've entered is not correct, or is not found within our database. So we can just tell you where the error is. So we have invalid credentials. Then you go to the next one. Remember we're still under that, so we are going to close that there, and then we're going to put there that statement. So remember we are having the opening if statement, so this one is supposed to end it here. Okay, so here we click on this if extend the outside if, and then we just add the else part there, and then you open the bracket, the curly bracket, and then you just say echo, user not found, user not found, like that. Then you can put an exclamation mark there, and then you just close with the semicolon. So that is how you can go about it. So we go to the next part, and in this part now we are going to add the, so if you have done the right thing, you should be able to have the last two, you should be able to have at least two curly bracket here at the end. So I'm having one, so it means that there is a problem somewhere. You just need to have two. So this one is being opened here. Okay, so this one is being opened here. So this is the opening if statement. Inside the if statement we have got this if statement that is also being opened here. So this statement, if statement here, is supposed to come up to, see it is being highlighted up to this point, okay. Then we also have our else. So remember, this is just something that has just been checked in here. So this one is coming to an end at this particular point. The if is coming to an end to this particular point. So the internal if is ending here, and then the else part is coming up to this point. So we are having this if part again. So this one has no else. Okay, so let me check that. Okay, so this part of the echo part of it is not supposed to be here. This echo part is supposed to be, okay, let me just check what is happening. So this is not supposed to be there, it is supposed to be here. So that's where you're supposed to enter our else, and that is exactly how it is going to look like. And then you just say echo, and then you just echo, you can say the user can't be found, and just say that user not found, user not found. So that is how it is supposed to be. And then you can go to see everything is now aligned very well. We have the opening bracket here, and then we have the closing bracket down here, and everything is very much okay. And then we just move to our HTML part now. Now in our HTML part, we're just going to type in some things. So here we're just going to say form. We're going to have our form here. Then we just say form, and then the method is supposed to be, post. Method is supposed to be post, and then the action is left to be blank. Action is equal to blank. Then you close that, and then you just press enter. Then you move to the next part, and then you just write there input type. Remember it is a tag, so you need to start with the angle bracket, and then you type there input type is equal to text. Input type is equal to text, and then you just say the name is equal to username. Name is equal to username, and then you can just say placeholder. In that space before somebody enters is supposed to be given direction, and the direction is just say username, and then you say required, and then you close that tag, and then you open another tag. So what you are going to do, I'm going just to copy this in order to save time. Copy, and then you just paste it here, and then here we are just going to change here that this one is supposed to be input type, is supposed to be password, and then the name is supposed to be password, and then you are going to use the placeholder as password. Okay, and then it should also be required. Then you have our button, so we need to add a button there for displaying. So type is equal to submit, like that. Then this is supposed to be login, so the name is supposed to be login. Then you close the button. Yeah, so we have been able to create a very simple form at the end of our PHP code, so that it can be able to check that statement. So I think there is an error here, undefined const post. Okay, so there is some problem here that post is not defined. Okay, so if I do this, post is not defined. So if I save this, okay, so if I run this, maybe I can just run this code to see if it is going to give me the output that I need. So I just go to my browser. I just want to check if there is any error that will be flagged off in this case. So I just type here localhost. So I just type here localhost in my web browser, localhost, and then the name of that file is questions. Then you press enter. So if everything is intact, you should be able to see this PHP code. So you can see we have got an error in this line. They are saying that uncaught error, undefined constant post in line 10. So we have an error in that line, and I need to know where exactly the error is. So we have got okay, so we just need to add some quotes here. So we just need to add some quotes here. So I just need to add some single quotes around this post, and then everything will just disappear. Also make sure that there is a space between the hysteric and the from part, so that everything can just be okay in this case. So I save this. When I save this and then I go to my web browser, I refresh this, you should be able to get such kind of a form whereby we have got the username, and then we have got the password here. So it has not been styled yet, but if I'm going to style it, I will be able to see everything fit very well. Even if I have not been able to do that, I can as well just write here the label. I can just write here the label, and then you can just say that so the first thing, that this is the username. Okay, and then we can just say that this is our password. So this is going to be our password, like that. So we can as well be able to add some break here, so that they appear to be separated a little bit. Break, and then you can also have another break here, so that everything can look as if it has been styled exactly the way we want it to be styled, like that. So if I save this and I can just refresh my page, you can see everything now has been aligned a little bit better. But what we are going to do, we are going to do some kind of CSS at the end of this tutorial, so that you can be able to style everything at once. So thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned to my next segment whereby we are going to discuss about how to create questions. Bye bye for now.